yoga. And welcome into your space and into your body. We'll take the first few minutes today to center. And before we begin, make sure you have a bolster, a couple of blocks, and something to sit on. And you can always use things like books or rolled up towels or rolled blankets in replacement of these items if you don't have them. Okay, so as you come to sit, sitting cross-legged or in whatever way is most comfortable for you, let's go ahead and lift the crown of the head up so we can create length in the spine. And we want to have an erect spine, but not to be uncomfortable, not stressed. So something comfortable. Relax your shoulders. Let your hips or your seat sink into what you're sitting on. And then if you'd like to close your eyes or look down in front of you, we'll take a few minutes to center. And if you've looked down in front of you to find that space there, you might widen your gaze as well. So just kind of looking down, widen the gaze, or simply close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, we'll move our attention into our body. Let's begin by taking a few deep breaths, nice slow breaths, breathing in, filling the whole body with breath, and then exhale. Let go of any tension or stress you're holding. And then do that again. Nice, deep, long breath. And release. Even a sigh if you'd like to. Just letting everything go. Any stress or tension that you brought with you today. We let all of that go so that we can be mindful and present as we practice. And again, with posture, maybe lean back just a little. I notice I'm leaning forward. That's a natural thing to do because we are living in a forward moving world, right? And so we want to take the back of the neck and press it toward the back of your room. Just a little, shoulders over the hips, relax the shoulders. Crown of the head continues to lift and our seat sinks into what we're sitting on. And with our eyes closed or looking down, we can scan our body and notice what we're feeling. Just getting a quick inventory of any stress or tension that we feel in the body. Noticing the bones and the joints and the muscles and even moving into the internal organs. Noticing if you're digesting food this morning or you might feel a little hungry. I don't want to put those ideas in your head, but I want you to observe your own self and find those answers for you. And once you've got a full body scan, noticing how you feel physically, let's also take time to notice our energy and even our emotional state today. We want to get a full picture of how we begin or how we feel before we begin our practice. Now guide your attention to focus on your breath and notice any sensation you feel as you breathe. We are looking to feel how the breath moves through the body. Maybe you feel your belly expand or the chest rise or expand, or even the ribs expanding in all directions. As you inhale and as you exhale, you can feel everything soften and narrow. As you inhale, you might think of pressing your seat or your tailbone downward. And as you exhale, lifting the spine, lifting the crown, kind of exhaling out of the top of your head, if that makes sense. Breathing in, I know I breathe in. Breathing out, I know I breathe out. And we focus here. Just a few more breaths, just watching our body breathe. Now slowly begin coming back as you're noticing breath, maybe feeling how things have slowed down and smoothed out. A little more space between breaths. That gives us a little more space between our thoughts, creating that calm and space that we're desiring or that we really look to yoga to give us. A little more space everywhere. Go ahead and open your eyes. We open our eyes to a new moment and a new beginning. And we're going to move into our first posture today. It's what are we calling this? My glasses. A long-legged butterfly pose. And so typically in our butterfly posture, we bring the bottom of the feet together and our feet are close to the groin as the knees extend to the sides. In this case, we're going to move our feet further away from our bodies so we create length. Additionally, if you're sitting really high on something, like I have 2 blankets here, I'm going to take one of those blankets out. I want a little bit of lift because that's going to tip my hips forward slightly. And then once we get on our seat, we'll go ahead and put the bottom of the feet together and then slide the feet forward. Now, if you have knee considerations and this doesn't feel good for you, you have several options here. If the knees are challenged, we can rest our thighs on blocks. So this is one option, knees or thighs on blocks. I like to turn my block so that the block sits on the floor on the yoga mat on this corner. And that way I have a flat surface for my leg, my thigh, my knee to rest on. So that is one option that you have. If that is not enough, you can take your bolster or blankets or towels and put that under your legs, still finding that long-legged butterfly posture, but now we have a lot of support there. All right, so find your desired posture. And then we're going to sit nice and tall. You can let your hands rest on your legs if you'd like to. And then we're going to lean forward from the hips. So we lean forward. When we go to that first place where we feel a dull, achy sensation, beginning to allow gravity to move us forward. And we come down to where we naturally stop. And so we can rest the hands here. You can let your head hang. Over time, that may become uncomfortable. So if that's uncomfortable for your head to just hang here, you can bring a block into the situation. And we can put our elbows on that block and rest our head here. Or maybe the block can come onto the feet and we can rest our head there. And so go to that first place because we're going to stay and continue to get a little deeper as we breathe and as we pause. And so I'm going to put my block right here in front of me and rest my elbows on that. That's a good place for me. And then take a nice deep breath and exhale. Look for my clock. We're going to hold here for about 5 minutes. So it's a long hold. I want you to focus on your breathing. And as your body starts to relax a little bit, as the muscles begin to let go, you can come down a little further. So you might be sitting straight up, and that's perfectly fine. Be comfortable there. Really listen to the body, letting the body give you the cues for when you're ready to move forward. And we breathe in, feeling the belly expand. And breathe out. Exhale. Let everything soften. There should be no holding, no stress. This is referred to as a meeting of the souls. Bottom of the feet, the souls. I like that. The meeting of the souls. Now I'm starting to feel a little pressure on my feet where those ankle bones rest. So if that's happening to you, you might place a light towel or a blanket under that. Give yourself a little bit of extra cushion, or even roll the edge of your mat under so you have more cushion there. So nothing too high, just enough to give you cushion. And so the principles of yin yoga, we have 3. One is to first come to that place, the first place. We come to the place where our body stops, and then we wait. We don't pull any further. We just wait. And when the body is ready, we can start to relax in time as the body may open. Sometimes it doesn't, and we just pause and we wait and we wait and we wait. We play the edge. We go to that first place where it's challenging and stop. The second principle is to be still, not being fidgety, not checking your text or checking the clock. That one's pretty common. We're thinking, when are we getting out of the posture? And so fidgety is one thing, but if you are able to, you can start to go a little deeper into the posture and maybe come a little further forward. It's okay to go deeper if your body is opening up. If it's too deep, you've gone too far, then back out a little bit and pause. A way to know if you've gone too deep is something called pain. Pain, sharp, edgy, maybe electrocuting, electric shocks. That is a signal to stop what you're doing and back out of it slowly and try again. The third principle of yin yoga is time. The magic ingredient for yin allows time to sink into the deeper tissues. So we're sinking into the deeper tissues of the body. We're creating some stress on the muscles and the joints and the bones. That little bit of stress helps to increase circulation, and it helps to improve the tissues of the body. And there is a fourth principle of yin yoga, and that is always to come out of these postures slowly because you've been in them for a long time. So if you can go a little further and try to get there a little further, I'm going to actually place my block in front of me so I can put my head there, maybe further down. Find the breath and pause and feel, really feeling and noticing your body. What is your body telling you right now? If you need to come up, you can come up. If you want to move to Shavasana, you need to shake things out. This is your practice. Stay as long as you'd like. And we're going to hold for about 4 more breaths. I will. So if you're with me, 4 more breaths, feeling the belly expand on the inhale and soften or release or contract as you exhale. And so when you're ready, we're going to come up very slowly. Really take your time, moving your blocks out of the way. We come up nice and slow, and then we're going to lean back. And as we lean back, we lift the chest, and then go ahead and lift your legs. Nice and slow. And this is where we start to feel, or maybe even say some of those old people sounds like, ooh, ah, ah. Go ahead and stretch your legs out. And then shake them or move them however it feels good. You might bounce your knees. You might shake them side to side, back and forth. Wiggle the toes, rotate the ankles. Find something that feels good for you. Bringing a little circulation. You might choose to bring your feet in and take them wide and do a few windshield wipers. This gentle movement back and forth. Our counter pose for any yin yoga posture is Shavasana. So if you need to stretch out and lie on your back for just a few breaths or minutes in between these postures, feel free to do that. It's a nice break for the body. And when you're sufficiently stretched out, we'll move into our second posture. We're going to do a wide leg straddle or seated forward fold with our legs wide. And so continuing to sit on your cushion or your blanket, we're going to take the feet wide, the legs wide. And we're going to relax the feet, relax the legs. If this doesn't feel good for your knees, you can always put a small roll of a towel or blanket under the knees, just a little bit of support. So if it causes pressure or too much pressure to keep the legs straight, then definitely support them. We're just going to let them relax, let the feet relax. And we're sitting up on that little bit of cushion so we can tip or tilt the hips forward slightly. Take a nice breath. And as you exhale, we're going to walk our hands forward and just support our body here. Walk the hands forward, take a few breaths. So remember, we're only going to that first place where we feel that tension. If you've gone too far back out of it, we're going to stay for a while. So make sure you're comfortable here. Resting your hands. You could hang your head if you want to. If that doesn't feel good, you can keep your head lifted. So many options, right? We can also bring our block into the situation and rest our elbows on that block and maybe even our head or our chin on our hands. And we feel the tendons and the ligaments begin to stretch. So a little stress as they stretch. Things start to soften the longer we stay, following the breath. Breathing in, breathing out. You can always come out of this posture when you're ready. You don't need to stay. If it's not right for you, then don't do it. You can always go into Shavasana and hang out there. We're going to stay for maybe 3 more minutes here, 2 or 3. Breathing in, breathing out. As your body starts to soften, you might discover that you can move a little further forward. Maybe even bringing that block on the tall side and placing your forehead on that. And then if you've gone too far, I come out of it. Come back up just a little bit. Keep breathing and softening. And then maybe you can go a little further after a few breaths. Breathing in, I know I breathe in. That's where I choose to focus my attention. Breathing out, I know I breathe out. Just about 3 more breaths here. Breathing in. Feeling how the breath fills the body on the inhale and breathing out. Letting go of tension or stress you're holding. Releasing, letting go. And when you're ready, we'll go ahead and take our hands to the mat and we're going to take our hands behind us. Just like we did before, we'll take the arms behind us, lift the chest, and then we want to bring the legs in very slowly. So maybe just one at a time, bringing the one leg in. Ooh, I can feel that. And then the second one. And then same thing as before, you can shake them back and forth, wiggle the toes, rotate the ankles. Maybe shake the knees. And as always, you can always do the windshield wipers. We take the feet a little wider, knees wide, and drop the knees back and forth. Or as I said before, you can also move to corpse pose, Shavasana, and let that be your counter pose. Just kind of shake and wiggle and move. It's a nice break. And when you're ready, we're going to move into the second posture. And that second posture is going to be Sphinx pose. And we're going to use blocks, maybe the bolster, kind of depending on your ability to do this lower back bend. So we'll come onto our bellies, coming onto the forearms, come onto the belly. And it doesn't matter if your feet are wide or close. We let the tops of the feet rest on the floor. And in a typical Sphinx pose, we're going to be on our forearms, and we can clasp the hands or leave them flat in front of us, or even cross them if you want to, if that feels pretty good. And we're going to relax here. Now, you've got some options for all this stuff. If this doesn't feel good and you don't think you can hold it for very long, take your bolster or your stack of blankets or towels, and we're going to bring that under the chest. So we have support. So once you get that under your chest, you can take your arms in front of it and we can pause here. So that's a little bit more restorative. It feels nicer for my back. It just depends on where you're at. So that is option one. Second option is if you've chosen to stay in Sphinx, you can take the bolster and place your head on it. Or you can take your block and place your head there. So we can let our head hang. We can lift our head up. Sometimes when we're lifting the head up, sometimes people may get dizzy or feel nauseous. And if that's happening to you, then definitely let the head drop. And we're going to stay here and we're going to move a little deeper as we get a little more comfortable with this posture. So find your breath. Notice your breath. Begin to engage with breath. Belly engages or the belly expands as you inhale, and it softens or contracts as you exhale. If your hips are uncomfortable on your yoga mat, you can always take your blanket and give yourself a little support, just a little bit of a cushion, a low level, nothing that's going to elevate your hips. Don't want to elevate the hips too high. So something that's very small. And then we rest, maybe let the head rest and find a breath. And you can stay here, or if you want to go a little bit deeper to increase the stress on the body, we can place the bolster under the knees. Under the arms. So instead of placing the bolster under the chest, we place the bolster under the arms to get us a little higher. Or you can also use blocks for that. And so we stay and we breathe. And if this isn't enough for you, you can also bend your knees. And that's going to create more tension in the lower back. So you should feel that, but it shouldn't be so much tension that it's sharp or pinpointing. Remember, pain is a signal that you should stop doing what you're doing. So if you're feeling increased pain, then go back. Or if this becomes too deep for you, you went too deep, back out of it. I'm going to bring my legs back down and continue to pause here and breathe. You can feel your belly expand on the inhale and soften on the exhale. And we're going to stay about 4 more breaths, breathing in and breathing out. And then very slowly, we're going to find our way out. So we take whatever support you're using away from you. And then we're going to rest our head on our arms. So forehead rests. And then I want you to actually forehead rest for a breath. And then I want you to turn your head. I'm turning towards the left. You turn whichever way is comfortable. Whatever way you've turned your head, I want you to bend that same leg on that same side, that leg that's on the same side. So I'm looking left. I'm going to bend my left leg and we're going to stay here and breathe. This is our counter pose to that back bend. Really clue or key into what you're feeling in your body. Where are you holding tension? Is there any place that you can release? Each time you exhale, see if you can soften or relax something. Now, when you're ready, we're going to slowly come up and we're going to go back to Sphinx, back to wherever you left off. So whatever level you were, we're going to go back to that place. So I had my bolster under my arms. I'm going to bring that bolster somewhat close to me so my elbows are under my shoulders. My chest is off the bolster. It might look like I'm on it, but I'm off of it. And then relax the legs, let the shoulders soften, and we come back into this Sphinx pose. And then remember, if you can go a little deeper, if you want to go a little deeper, you can bend into those knees. And that's going to actually stretch the front of your thighs into those quads a little bit. And maybe even the hip flexors. So we're getting a deeper stretch. Relax your toes, relax your feet. And we're doing a second back bend here because we did 2 forward bends. So we are counter posing those back bends, counter pose. And let your hands rest. I just thought my hands are in a prayer pose. I don't know what I'm praying for. Relax the hands, maybe clasp the fingers, let them hang. Let your head hang if you want to. The focus here is the lower back. So you should feel something in your lower back, but again, no pain there. Pain, again, means that we're doing something we shouldn't be doing, so come out of it. If you've gone too deep into the pose, you can come back out just a little bit, or when you're ready, you can come completely out of it. We do have a little deeper place to go, so if you want to stay with me, I wouldn't move to Shavasana just yet. Just take a few more breaths and then we'll go a little deeper. Okay, so from here, if your knees are bent, let's go ahead and lengthen them. And we'll slowly slide the bolster or blocks or wherever you are out from under you. And then we're going to come into a seal pose. So continuing to go a little deeper into our back bend, we're going to take our hands onto the floor, turn the palms out. So fingertips are pointed outward and we come up. and lengthen into the arms. So it's a deeper, much deeper pose. Again, if it's too deep, you come out of it. Palms are turned sideways, so the fingertips are out to the sides. And we find our breath here. And if you can go further or you want to, bending the knees is going to get you there. Shoulders down away from the ears. You can hang your head if you want to, or you can keep it lifted as long as it's not making you dizzy or nauseous. Finding your breath, breathing in, breathing out. Try to stay with this 4 more breaths if you can. Breathing in 1. Breathing in 2. Breathing in 3. Remember, your exhale is helping you to let go of tension. So let go of anything you're holding as you exhale. Breathing in 4. And slowly, slowly, slowly take care of your back as you find your way down. And we're going to do the second side like we did before. We'll place our head on our hands. So since I looked left last time, I'm going to look right this time. And then my right knee is going to bend. So I take that out to the side. And we breathe and relax here. When you're ready, we slowly come out of this. And we're going to push ourselves back to a table posture. If you have a blanket under you, go ahead and take that out. We come into table. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, and stretch into cat. Nice and slow. Draw the belly in. Low belly draws back towards the spine. And we arc the spine toward the ceiling, chin towards the chest. And then as you're ready, soften the spine, and we look forward for cow. And exhale, cat. So 2 more times. And then we move into child's pose. And so obviously you have a lot of choices for child's pose. You can take your knees wide if you want to. Keeping them closer together is going to give you a little deeper stretch on the lower back. And you can bend the elbows. If your head is levitating, stack your fist, or you can grab a block and let your head rest on that. A classic child's pose would have us taking our arms behind us, palms face up, relax the shoulders and breathe, breathing into the back. And then if you want to, you can rock a little. Sometimes it feels good to just kind of rock into your child's pose, or you can be still. Do what feels good for you and your body. And then place your hands under your shoulders and find your way up. And we're going to come to sit on that blanket or cushion again. So if you have a cushion or a blanket, I like to have mine folded just a little bit. And we'll sit on that. And then we're going to stack our knees. So I would take your right leg and bring it under you. And then we're going to bring the left leg on top and stack the knees. So this is not a posture that is easy for many people. So if you're not able to stack that top leg, you have options. First option would be to stretch your bottom leg out and just do half of this shoelace pose. Or you can take your block and place it between the knees. That gives you a little more support there. And make sure you're sitting on a cushion so that we can tip the hips forward just a little bit. So I just sit at the edge of that cushion and then relax the feet, relax the toes. And we're going to do a little bit of a twist. And so I have left leg on top. I'm going to turn towards the left. I'll take my right hand to the outer edge and I'm going to take my left hand behind me. Stay up on the fingertips, or you can place your hand on a block. And we twist. Pull the belly in, turn, twist, turn your gaze if that's comfortable. Look behind you or just to the side or anywhere that's comfortable for your neck. And we'll breathe and take a few breaths here. So we start to discover that breathing in a twist is sometimes difficult. So our breath becomes more shallow. And that is information for you. We also start to notice that our twists help us to digest food or anything we drank before our practice. And so you might feel that gurgling up on you. We'll stay and breathe and focus. Focusing on what you feel, where you feel it. If the twist is too deep, you can come out. If it's not deep enough, go a little further. We twist from the waist, not the shoulders. So I have my hand here on my arm, on my shoulder, my thigh. I could use that as leverage to really crank, but then I'm using my shoulders to find that twist. It is better if when you're twisting, you exhale, draw the belly in, and then rotating the ribs. So we're working to take that opposite rib cage, rib side towards the opposite leg, the thigh. And then you can place your hand on your leg as a little bit of support to help you stay there. And don't stress the shoulders. I've had my own share of shoulder injuries trying to crank myself into these twists. Just a few more breaths here. When you're ready, inhale, come back around, and then grab a block if you have one, and we're going to place it opposite of the leg that you have on top. And then we're going to take the same leg that you have on top. We're going to take that arm to the side and turn the palm back towards the wall behind you. Roll the shoulder forward a little bit, and then we're going to reach behind us. You might place your hand at the back of your waistline with your palm facing outward, or maybe you can kind of reach up and bring your hand up between the shoulder blades. Go where you can go. And then with the other hand, we're going to place it on the block, and we're going to start to lean over so we can stretch into this side of the body. So we stretch over. You might place your hand on that block or maybe your elbow on that block. And then we're going to let our head hang. And so if that's comfortable for the head to hang, that would be okay. Or you can lift your head. So it just depends on what's comfortable for your neck. And we're going to hold here and breathe, breathing in, breathing out. It's an interesting picture as I'm looking at my big TV screen. My arm looks like it's not there. And we get nice and long. And as you exhale, you might be able to adjust your block and go a little lower. Think about pressing the opposite hip where your arm is bent behind you, that hip, press it down into the surface that you're seated on. And I'm going to turn my gaze up just a little bit so I'm not twisting. And find your breath. Good. And then when you're ready, we're going to slowly find our way up. And we'll slide that arm out from behind us, stretch the arms out, roll the shoulders, and then the top of an eagle pose. The opposite arm that you had behind you is going to be on the top as you come into the bind and stretch. And then unwind that. Beautiful. All right. So then we're going to lean back like we've done before. Stretch the legs out and shake them. Lift the chest, maybe bounce the legs or rotate them back and forth. Rotate the ankles, wiggle the toes, whatever feels good, or even a little bit of windshield wiper. And then we'll come back and we're going to come into the second side. So do you remember which side you had under and which one you had on top? I don't think I remember. This way? I think this way. Yeah. And so whatever you did before, we do the opposite and we try to stack those knees. And we start there, finding a place where it's comfortable so you can put the block between the knees if you'd like to. You can, what else was my options? Bring the bottom leg out straight. That's always an option too. And then once we are there and you find this posture, we're going to twist. And so we take our hand to our knee, opposite arm behind you. Breathe in, get nice and tall, and then exhale and twist, looking over your shoulder behind you. Each exhale takes us a little deeper. On your next inhale, unwind. Pause and feel. And now we take the opposite arm behind us. So we start with the arm extended, turn the palm back, and then reach behind you. And maybe this arm goes a little more than the other one did. Mine does. Move your block to the other side. And then we're going to do that side bend. And so we get nice and tall, and then we start to lean over, bringing your elbow to the block or the floor. And let the head hang or look up. And we press the opposite hip down. So we're pushing that hip down into the floor, bringing lots of space into the side body. And then scan your body. And is there a place that you can soften? Maybe the shoulders, maybe the feet or the toes or the hands, the fingers. And when you're ready, very slowly come up, release, and then we'll take the arm out and we're going to take that arm that was bent under the other one and find the bind for the top of an eagle. Take a few breaths. And then unwind. Beautiful. So we're going to roll onto our backs now and work our way into our last posture. And so if you have any props that you need for Shavasana, keep those handy. Blankets are nice. Socks are good if you're cold. Hoodies, blankets, anything to support the knees if you need that. Once you have all of your props handy, we'll move our way down slowly, feet on the floor, knees bent. And once you're on the floor, take a few breaths and let your body adjust to being here. And then draw your knees into your chest. And with the knees drawing in, if you feel like rocking a little, feel free to do that. It's just a nice transition before we go to Shavasana. Rocking, wiggling, rolling, maybe even coming up to the top and moving your knees in opposite directions a few times, just to open those hips up. If you've done some big circles, go the opposite way. And even a few rounds of Apanasana. Squeeze the knees down as you release your breath and float the knees away as you receive your breath. Just a couple times. And then do what you need to do for Shavasana. Now, because this was a lower back focus practice, it would be really nice if you have a blanket or a bolster to place under your knees. That way, you're removing the pressure from your lower back. The knees bent and supported releases pressure from the low back. A rolled blanket, rolled towel, anything that gives your knees a little lift is going to be nice. Make sure your feet are on the floor though. That keeps you grounded. And then the arms can be out to the side, palms face up, or sometimes people like to just rest their hands on their belly. And that's your choice. Find your way into being comfortable, supporting your body as you know how to do for this last pose. Remembering this is the most important posture that we do in our practice. In Shavasana, we are allowing the body to assimilate all the postures that came before this one. This is where we get the greatest benefit of our time here on the yoga mat. As you rest, feel the weight of your legs soften into what they're resting on. Have a sense of heaviness. Relax the hips and the shoulders. Relax your eyes. Feel the eyeballs sinking into the sockets. And you might notice the eyelids softly covering the eyeballs like little blankets. Let the space between the eyebrows widen and the forehead becomes soft. As your body rests and softens, relaxing into the earth, guide your attention to focus on breathing. Feeling the breath move through your body. Breathing in, I know I breathe in. Breathing out, I know I breathe out. And rest. Let this be the easiest posture you do today. If your mind has drifted away to something, maybe a sound or a thought, it's a distraction. Notice that it happened and gently guide the attention back to focus on breath. Breathing in, you can feel the breath fill the body, expanding the belly and the chest and the ribs. Breathing out, we can feel the whole body grow heavy and soft as we sink into the floor. Is there some place that you can soften? Each time you exhale, find some place in your body that you can let go. Surrender, relax. And so you can stay there as long as you'd like to. It's your practice, you're at home, continue to relax, restore, enjoy. I'm finding my way up. And whether you're continuing on in Shavasana or you've found your way into a seated position, we scan and notice and appreciate our effort here on our yoga mat today, bringing more space into the body, increasing circulation on joints and muscles and bones, creating healthier tissues in the body. And as you decide to move into your day, whenever that is, please always remember that your presence matters. You matter. And continue to show up for those around you and always be present. I honor the light that is in you. Namaste. And so stay there, enjoy your day, and I'm going to go ahead and click out.